On the same topic of preparation, I ask everyone the same question here, and I always want to get their honest feedback. 30, 60, 90s. Good, waste of time, find any value in it?
Yeah, I think the 30, 60, 90 has a lot of value. Both the candidate and the company need to be clear on what the expectations are within that. And that is where issues can arise. A 30, 60, 90 day policy is not that valuable if it's not very clear what you're looking for, right? Are you looking for numbers? Is that reasonable? Some organizations will have training periods that last 4 months, right? So, what am I going to get out of the 90 days? What do I expect from them? So I think as long as that's established up front, and if you're an employee, you want to really ask about that. Hey, is there a 90-day review? Is there a 30-day review, 60-day review? There is. Okay, what are you looking for? Be very clear with that, because they need to tell you, right? If they're going to enforce that. And again, sometimes it's just numbers. Sometimes it's just like, hey, you got to sell this much, but hey, you need to know that. That needs to be clear up front. But I do think there's value in it. I just think it needs to be clear what they're looking for.
Okay, so someone coming in there with, for instance, the ChatGPT 30, 60, 90 saying, hey, I prepared this for you, not that much value. But if they ask for it and say before our next interview, you would expect them to ask the right questions to get the knowledge of what's going on specifically in that territory and then create a game plan.
Yeah. I mean, look, in my experience, 30, 60, 90s are typically prepared by the organization itself. So we might be talking about something a little different here, but
if asking, because they get asked sometimes, reps ask me, candidates ask me, Joe, should I prepare a 30, 60, 90? And I'm like, I think they're a waste of time unless you know what their specific objectives are and what the goals are. So then you can create a game plan that can actually be used.
Yeah, again, and I would go back to control the controllables. That seems like something that you're getting into stuff that you can't control. And you want to limit that because it creates frustration. It creates, this is going to be a long process most likely, right? Medical is just typically not so you really want to, be very diligent with what you prepare and intentional with hey, I'm going to do this. So I would agree with you. Anything that is not explicitly, unless you find out through, the sources we discussed, if it's not on there, then I wouldn't do it, right? Because again, you're just banking on something that you can't control. And if it doesn't happen, it was work that could have been spent actually learning about the organization. Usually again, there's lots of information online or talking to them or whatever. There's so many other things that you can guarantee will come up that I would focus on versus preparing some sort of plan, unless you have reason to believe that's actually what they're going to ask for.